Okay, hi everyone. Ni hao, bonjour to the online world.
Okay, hi
So,
everyone.
um, okay, the multiple devices everywhere. So I was just trying to collate the right data set, and um, I would be discussing the upskilling stuff in terms of utilizing games to upskill the candidates and be their better versions. That has been the mandate of ITU also, and the study groups also, talking about how to upskill, or rather I would say um, able to treat multiple ailments, particularly in Homo sapiens. Sapiens are divided into three categories. One is child, then we have adults and seniors. I would be first talking about the tagging of the data sources, and then, of course, we can work upon that layer, and then that layer would be working with the input data. And for that, we need to orchestrate timelines, we need to orchestrate dates, we need to orchestrate given objects under supervised learning so that this becomes a reality. And then once this control data set is created, that can be replicated at large in other places. So first of all, this the tagging of this particular stuff is, folks like to watch stuff in synchronicity. So watching games played by other players, perhaps this is under a different tagging altogether. That is A63F13 slash 86. So it is festival of Diwali today, or I would rather say this time Diwali is being celebrated on 2 days. It's a lot of uh, green crackers are being. I mean, this is another case scenario, but I personally stopped this. For me, it's like burning, fiat currency. So I am not a big fan on burning crackers. But yes, I like to be a spectator, and for that, I already talked about the tagging part. Okay, let's get back to the tagging here. The next tagging is A63F13 slash 798, security and management aspects involving player related data that includes identities, accounts, preferences. Now, this is very interesting. Um, what are preferences? Preferences, perhaps it is a very open ended word. And I think I should also make this note. Um, Preferences. So I was working on something the other day. Um, Preferences, okay. So we were talking about some parameters. So I'm introducing this word. I mean, I was using it in another manner altogether, but preferences is good for the players, particularly from the standpoint view. To my mind, when I think about preferences, it is all to do with food preference or beverage preference. It's particularly the a la carte menu and stuff. But anyhow, coming back to the e-gaming sector, it has preferences parameters also, and around this is preferences. Where was I? Okay, preferences. Then histories of the play for accessing the skills or for ranking the players, for generating a hall of fame. I would rather say a wall of accolades rather than a hall of fame. Okay, next is computing the game score. I like to use the word evaluate, but here the computing is A63F13 slash 46. Then performing operation on behalf of client with restricted processing capabilities, that is server transformers changing game scenes in an encoded video stream for transmitting to a handheld device or a thin client. Very interesting. Um, how do you define a thin client? Okay. This is A63F13 slash 355. And if there's a shopping around this whole exercise that is under H04N21/254, which is management at additional data servers, example, shopping server, right management server, and the like. Um, Live feed is H04N21/2187. Supplemental services, example, displaying phone caller identification, shopping application H04N21/4778. Games is 4H04N21/4781. Bookmarking, betting on live events, which is a different scenario altogether. That is G07F17/3288. End user application, example, web browser game, that is H04N21/8173. Protocols for games, network simulations, or virtual reality, that's H04L67/131. Okay, I will try and just discuss this as quickly as possible. Okay, what's happening here? Let's look into it. So, the player is, of course, if you're playing on any of these devices, you are supposed to be in a sitting arrangement generally. And then you have a media list which has panels, and then you have NFL games, esports event, MLB games, and the like. Um, I'm trying to figure out an interesting diagram to discuss. Um, so, what does this talk about? Okay. So, somehow we are making the robotic aspect of this particular innovation, which is being used to for machine learning technology. Uh, uh, uh. Let's just recap this. Okay, so what we need to concentrate right now is the parameter preferences, and the other aspect would be a thin client. What is a thin client? I'm just writing it here. Focus on, I always knew silver lining. A thin client, interesting. I will deep dive into this. Let's see. A thin client, and we have preferences. A thin client. Okay, this is done. So there's an application on the handheld device, and at the uh, simultaneously the real game is being played on the screen. So the candidate is provided the choice to pass, run, or whatever the action item, agenda item needs to be performed. And at the computing end, the real star does and watches what you select. If your choices match, you get points. And after the application illustrates a leaderboard, uh, who all are the fans who played like a pro. The best fan is winning. It's kind of a betting, but not a betting. It's winning prizes. And then actually, it's particularly, I would rather say, this kind of application can be utilized to upskill and identify real talent in terms of um, there are so many pressing problems right now in the society which need to be resolved to achieve SDG 2030 goals. And 2025, in many ways, is just over. And we have a couple of years to achieve that. And that is very much achievable with the internet penetration, with the utilization of right input data sets. So that's perhaps what needs attention right now. that is done, what else we need to look into? I think rest of the factors, okay. I'll just focus on this part. Probably tomorrow I'll be deep diving into this. So this is multiplayer online battle arena and real time strategy. But I particularly like to the way a part of what we are launching right now is setting the rules first, because until and unless the rule book is not understood by the candidates, it's next to impossible to achieve what needs to be achieved at any given point of time. So rather than, when we're talking about the supervised learning capabilities, the protocols have to be such that the identified candidates, they have to go to the rule book again, 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 and get into the human capacity building to execute those tasks at hand with clarity. I think that is going to be beneficial stuff for the agenda items of achieving 2030 goals. Thank you for watching this out. Yes, you can send DMs and we'll look into it. Have a great, great, great week ahead. It's a festive season. Halloween is around the corner. So, in advance, happy Halloween to everyone.